Good morning, everyone. Well, I just said to Tamara, here she is just down the street from me, which is lovely and lovely for everybody who is listening today. I have Tamara Zoner with me, and we're going to talk. She is a certified life coach, a speaker, a happiness trainer. I said to her, that's lovely in Michigan today. The sun is shining. It's April. People are getting ready to go to a baseball game. It's not snowing. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today here in Michigan. I mean, a happiness trainer, this is probably a great day for you.
Absolutely. Well, it makes it easier. People feel happier automatically when the weather is right, especially in Michigan where it's
I
unpredictable.
believe I am a victim, if you can say victim, of seasonal. As I've gotten older, I believe in seasonal, what's it called? Seasonal.
Affective disorder.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
I've decided that's what I have. I have it. I have it sometime about February and March in Michigan, where I say I really need to get on an airplane and go see my parents in Florida and look in the sky and say, oh, there's that thing we call sun. Because
Right.
if you live in Michigan or a state like Michigan, you get that gloom and doom. So
You do.
tell me, and I say this often when I talk to coaches,
Mhm.
and you qualified by saying you're a certified life coach. And I bring that out because um, people need to not just say they're coaches.
Mhm.
There's baseball coaches, there's football coaches, and there's business coaches, but you're a certified life coach, which means you have training and you've
Mhm.
gone through extensive training. So, one, tell me a little bit about what's unique about what you specifically do.
Okay, I actually decided to get the coaching certification because I wanted to make sure that I was credible, that I was educated, that I was, doing the right thing. But what got me into coaching is what's something called the passion test, which I had discovered by synchronicity when I was actually living in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it's this very powerful process that helps you identify the 5 things that matter the most to you in your life right now, and then teaches you how to align yourself with those things. And when I discovered that, I knew immediately I want to be this certified passion test facilitator. I didn't even really know what it meant yet, but I just had a full body knowing. And we were actually in kind of a transition. We were about to move from Michigan to England. And so I didn't know when or where I'd be able to do this certification. And I ended up being able to do it while I was in Europe. And I went to Oslo and did this 4-day intensive, after I'd done the coaching certification from my kind of cold little spot in England. And that's what I really wanted to do. And that led me to different teachers, different trainers, which led me ultimately to the happiness training. And so I really combine the two. So I do coach,
Mhm.
but my focus is on speaking. I love workshops, I love groups, and I love being in front of an audience. So thanks for putting me in front of yours. Uh,
Yes.
and, the people who feel connected to what I'm teaching or training on in my workshops or talks are the ones that then may become my coaching clients. But I'm very specific about who I'll take, who's
Hmm.
ready to do the work,
Hmm.
and I keep that coaching time limited because what I really want to do is get my message out there and touch as many people as I can.
So I have a couple questions, of
Sure.
course, about this.
Yeah.
Um, One, you're used to speaking. Of course, this year has been different. So I naturally have to ask how changed how you got your word out there and were speaking, because so much of what you do was, in front of people.
Mhm.
And there's something to be said about being able to see people. And now we're in our boxes.
We are, and which has its pluses and its
Mhm.
minuses, right? I can get to a lot more people. Now I've presented in California and Arizona, present in Florida, whereas before I was limited to where I was physically. And so in that way, Zoom is fabulous because I can reach so many more people. And on the other hand, I don't get to give the hugs. I
Right.
don't get to look over the shoulder, and I don't get to hear the conversations, that go on between breaks. But it actually opens up the whole world, as we
Hmm.
kind of talked about before. So I can present to somebody in England. Now,
Yeah.
for me, COVID has been, of course, there are the hard parts, but there's been a big blessing where I started using my training more. I was working a full-time job, and this was kind of on the side, and it has been on the side for years and years. And when COVID hit, I was actually working in a senior community in West Bloomfield. And uh, when we were able to come out of quarantine and start doing small group activities again, they were so sad. They'd
Hmm.
been disconnected and
Hmm.
isolated, and everyone was depressed. And I thought, holy cow, I have all this training,
Hmm.
all these programs under my belt. I'm going to start using it on my seniors. And it made such a dramatic difference that I put in my notice and started doing it in other senior communities
Yeah.
for, public workshops on Zoom, because what we all need right now are the tools of happiness. It's not just something you like aspire to and you grab onto.
Hmm.
You have to work at it, and it
Yeah.
requires tools and skills. And so it's such a gift to be able to show people how they can take ownership and responsibility of their happiness and then get it, and be happier.
So I've coined myself as saying that a lot of days through this past year, in particular with my own clients in PR, I've had to be a cheerleader
Mm-hmm.
to their businesses, and then sometimes I sort of close up Zoom or the phone and just sort of have to slump down and
Mm.
take the smile off. And it's hard, it's hard to sort of be up and happy. How how do you do it? How do what is one tool, if I can have you share with people, one little secret tool or
Well,
tip?
one secret is actually just what you said that you do. When you have the time and energetic space, you let yourself feel what you feel.
Mhm.
So honoring wherever you're at and starting right then and there is one tool. Because when we think to ourselves, oh, I have to be happy, I have to act happy, I have to be up, up, up all the time, it's not it's not even possible.
Mhm.
And so we have to allow ourselves to really authentically feel what we're feeling and give every emotion its voice and then a healthy outlet. So I definitely say start where you're at and just start to breathe. That's the tool you always have with you, to just breathe into whatever you're feeling and notice it and be aware and allow it. Because I have this fun little phrase I like to say, if you feel it, you heal it. And if you
Mhm.
ignore it, you store it.
Interesting. I
And
like that.
yeah, and if you're
It's
storing it, it's
it's
going to come back.
interesting that you say breathing. It's that thing we take for granted, the thing we all do.
Hmm.
And I have ventured into some breathing exercises, and it's amazing how how much you become in tune. Even if you just, I don't really meditate, but I do breathe. And you really do become in tune. You slow down for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, some people could call it meditation, but you really do start to listen to your body for a minute. You stop. You you just stop. I think that's the most
Yes.
important thing is
Yeah.
you kind of can stop yourself from going in a direction, even if it's the direction you want to go in.
Hmm.
It just forces you to sort of stop and take notice.
Yes.
um I want to go back though to something that you noticed when you went back to work, and our senior population, I think, I can't decide, what group has been the most hard hit in the past year in particular. I certainly think that's one of them, for sure. What did you particularly notice about our seniors that that you felt needed your services so much, that would really catapult you into saying, I'm leaving here to sort of facilitate a larger number?
Well, I think especially with our seniors, they've grown up in a different era, obviously, and they're not as in tune with current research and science on happiness and even meditation. And they're feeling a gap in what they expect life to look like and how they can handle it. And so one of the first things that I teach is how to take responsibility for your own happiness. That's the foundation of it. So, I play with them something called the shame, complain, and blame game, where we get very aware of where we are actually giving away our power to the world and external circumstances and expecting those things to change for us to be happier. And so when they recognize and realize that if they take personal responsibility for their happiness, then, especially in senior communities, I like to joke, it's not up to the dining room to make them happy. It's not up to the staff. It's not up to their kids to come and visit if they can. It's up to them and the way that they think about their happiness and the ways that they then behave. And those, when they get it, the shifts that happen are so beautiful. When I was still working in the senior community and presenting this, 1 week after, I do a 4-part series because I think it's the most beneficial, and then they have time to learn the skills and build on them. But 1 week after the very first session, where I talk about complaining and blaming and shaming, I ask them at the end, what's something that you'll commit to for the next 30 days? What action will you take for the next 30 days to make a change in your own personal happiness? And one of my residents decided to stop complaining for those 30 days. But she had a caveat. She was only going to stop complaining to her son on their daily phone calls. She could complain to anybody else, neighbors, staff, anybody else. A week later, she walks into my office and she says, Tamara, you changed my life. And I said, okay, tell me what I do. And she said, she told me what she did. I stopped complaining to my son. And what she realized was that throughout her day, she had been walking around looking for things to complain about later with her son, actively collecting little things that annoyed her, whether it was the breakfast was cold or her neighbor was noisy or the plants hadn't been changed outside of her apartment. She was collecting those things to report on. And when she stopped collecting those, her mind cleared, she expanded, she felt happier and calmer in a week. It was so beautiful.
So I want to ask, did she complain to other people?
A little bit, but that fell off too.
I would imagine, because it does, I think it goes with the adage that it's so much easier to be happier than angry. And I do say that a lot to people who are kind of just complaining. It's like, it takes some, like you watch someone who's complaining or angry, their whole body shifts, their posture shifts. And, I was telling someone how to do an interview the other day. And I said, don't forget to smile. And I said, your smile will come through. And this was a radio interview.
Okay.
And they said, oh, nobody's ever told me that. I said, yeah, you need to smile through the interview, because they'll feel you through the phone, and if you're just talking, it becomes like, very across, sort of, I like to say across the board, but if you're smiling, people feel that energy. There's a different energy.
It totally shifts your energy, and it even releases happy hormones to help your body to feel happier.
Right. I just sometimes, it's sort of like, I'm like, oh, stop complaining. It's like, nobody cares. It's enough.
Well, and that's another.
Not only that, you're putting it on me and I don't want to hear it,
Exactly. Exactly. So to further that, we also teach like how to create healthy boundaries when you have a negative person in your experience, and how to just say, okay, let's be solution focused. I've heard you complain about this many times, and I'm wondering, would you be willing to explore some solutions? Because otherwise I can give you 5 minutes. And
you're so kind about it. I usually go, what are you going to do about it?
I do think there's some kindness and grace that helps people receive it.
Yeah, you're a lot nicer. I've been in leadership roles, and I usually have this rule, like, if you're going to complain, you're going to come up with a solution too. So
yeah, and that's perfect. And in a leadership position, you can be a little more direct, but
right, like,
if you're talking to
here's one complaint, I want a solution.
Yes.
But I love that, and I love that in a tough year you're working with that age group, because I do think that one, it's been an incredibly tough year for seniors not to be able to hug and love, and whether it's their own kids. We're used to being able to go into senior centers with busloads of kids to do those things.
Part of living in a senior community or having those senior community centers is for connection.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. That social connection and the physical touch are so vital to our mental health and even our physical health. And we're missing that. So another trick that I taught them is to hug themselves, because your brain doesn't know what's real or imagined. So if you're really missing someone you love, or you just need a hug, and you wrap your own arms around yourself, and then you imagine that person that you want to be hugging, and you imagine it for 20 seconds, because it takes our brains about 20 seconds to register a positive emotion or a positive experience. And after about 20 seconds, our bodies release oxytocin, that bonding hormone. And so you get this, again, a flood of happy hormones that are going to help you feel connected to that person, whether or not you're together.
I love that. Because here it's just you and I understand, but like I've said to my friends, like I've gotten vaccinated. I'm almost at that 2-week mark. I can't, I want to hug you, and we all want to be safe and do it, but that I think is what we've missed the most, more than anything, is just that normalcy of human connection. And I do believe that's what makes us all happy. Going forward, how do you see taking your position into the future? What will it look like? What would you like it to look like?
What I would like it to look like is,
I think that's a better way of, since I like to say that, I don't, I have no crystal ball in the world. And
right. I would like it to look like we're all in a big room and I'm on a big stage with a big audience that I can reach, because I truly believe in the ripple effect of one person. And, if I can teach a grandparent who can talk to their children about it, who then talk to their children, or if I can even teach, because I do my public workshops too with any age, 16 and up, come to my class. You learn these skills early, everything shifts. The culture shifts, the community shifts, everything shifts from one person taking ownership and actually taking action to help them develop greater happiness. And by happiness, I just want to clarify, it's that authentic happiness where we allow all of our feelings and we deal with them in a healthy way. It's not this toxic positivity that you can't feel negative feelings. That's not the truth. We all have them. So learning how to move through them is the key. And the sooner we learn that, the better. But we can learn it at any age. We have fabulous brains that have neuroplasticity, and we can learn new tricks at any age.
I do want to say that your website is alifeyoulovenow.com.
Yes.
And lots of great information there. a follow-up question to what you were just talking about. Tell me a little bit about your workshops and your speaking. Is it, I know they're different. Is it one time you can do a class? Are they multiple sessions? Give me a little bit of a makeup so when people are listening right now, what they might be, as they head to your website, what they might be seeing.
Sure. So I do longer courses or one-day workshops throughout the year. And so those will be on the website or on my Facebook page. And I have one coming up that's not public yet. It's not on there because I'm still working on the content, but it's going to involve some breath work, and it's going to be more focused on your relationship with yourself. So it's going to be called Breathing into Enoughness.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And that's going to really focus on not only the happiness aspect, but how you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself, self-compassion, self-forgiveness, that moment of slowing down with your breath and really tuning into who you are and what you want in your life. So it's kind of a blend of everything that I've learned and taught before. So that's coming up. That'll be in June. And then I do public workshops. I will offer like a one-off class. Maybe it's a free seminar, maybe it's some information that will then invite people into a 6 to 8 week course. I love those. And I also do just the one-day workshop. And if you want more, that's when I invite you to work with me personally. I love to do what I call passion support coaching, where I keep helping you. I'll coach you and I'll guide you, and I'll also cheerlead you and keep you accountable for creating a life you love now, because there's no point in waiting for it in the future. We do it now.
No, it's now. And I think, I hope what people take away from this is, again, going to, first of all, I always like to say that hopefully this platform allows people to hear something they haven't heard, do a little research on their own, alifeyoulovenow.com, explore this. If you're waiting for something, it's in your reach. And that's what I like to say. Like, that commercial where something hits you on the head, not going to happen. You got to go
and if it does, you've really waited way too long to listen.
I mean, you got to go hit yourself on the head gently. You really, this has been a rough year. We're still going through it. I like to say it's a beautiful day, and that helps, but you got to create, you have to create your beautiful day. And when you're, even if you feel like you're sinking, if you can get there, you can help yourself. If someone's listening, most importantly, if you're listening and there's someone who needs help them.
Yes.
Don't
wait, reach out. And I do have also a Facebook group. So now everything has to be paid for. I run a Facebook group, Create a Life You Love Now. And I also have a local meetup. So since you're local, and you probably have some local viewers and listeners, I run a meetup called Create a Life You Love. And we still meet locally. I like to say physically distanced, socially connected.
Yes.
So we've met in parks, in greenhouses over the winter that were closed, seasonal greenhouses. We're going to meet in the park in a couple of weeks. So, if people want to have, it takes a community to
raise us.
Yes, it does. And people can't do it alone. You can. It's really a lot harder though. And so to surround yourself with what I call like-hearted people who want to live, a life that's a step above what society tells us we can have, then it helps to have support.
And I think what you'll find is when you do that, all areas of your life start being more successful.
Absolutely.
And it's sort of that chain reaction. Well, thank you so much. alifeyoulovenow.com. Join me anytime. I love this conversation. I love that you're around the corner, so people who are local can find you. But in this world, that's the best part. As I said to you, there are just no boundaries in this world. You have to set your boundaries. But as far as Zoom world, we can all be connected. So I love what you're doing. I love how you're helping people.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank you. Hopefully I'll pass you, as I like to say, going down the street one day.
I bet we will.
Have an amazing day. Enjoy this unique Michigan day.
Yes, thank you. I will. You too.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.